to Local Bias. I'm Drew Hutchison. We come from the live, well, kind of live, from the studios of Greenfield Community Television. We're taped and then we're broadcast later. Today is December 18th. And we're also heard on WMCB 107.9 LP-FM in Greenfield, our local community radio station. And thank you for joining us today. Our guest is Al Norman. Al, thanks for coming on the show once again.
Pleasure. Thanks, Drew.
In today's recorder, it mentioned that there are 13 residents of Greenfield who have filed an appeal with the State Department of Environmental Protection in regards to the Conservation Committee's vote to allow the Ceruzzi project to move forward.
It said all that? Just kidding. Yes, I saw the article.
So how are you involved with this?
Well, I've been working with neighbors there on the end of French King Highway who are upset about the idea of this huge 160,000 square foot store. This is 2.5 times bigger than Stop and Shop, being located at the end of French King. In terms of the noise, the light, the pollution, this is not a good neighbor. So just from a very parochial property rights issue, those folks have the right under state law to file appeals against any decision made by the town. In fact, Drew, this is what they're doing, and I'm one of the appellants. What we're doing is something that the developer promised to do if he didn't get his way. Now, this is something that was not reported on in the paper, but during one of the hearings, the Mackin Construction Company actually said to the Conservation Commission, if you don't give us our permit, our what they call an order of conditions, if you don't give it to us, we're going to go to court.
But you haven't gone to court. This is just an appeal through...
Right. At this point, it's an administrative appeal to the Department of Environmental Protection. So it is not a court action. Court action could follow, but at this point, all we're doing is going to the state and saying, you better take a look at the decision because we think it's flawed. Okay, and what the paper kind of was a little bit confusing, there had been an earlier appeal? Yeah, in fact, there are two appeals now. The first one was filed on November 14th. And they're both by the same list of residents. One is appealing the decision that was made in the Mackin Construction Company's case to fill in a wetland that they say has to be destroyed because they polluted it so badly, if you can believe that. They want to be rewarded for polluting a wetland and want to just fill it in and walk away from it. And the second appeal was against the application filed by the Ceruzzi Company, calling themselves Greenfield Investors, to build a 160,000 square foot store that actually builds around the wetlands in a very unconventional building. They've actually moved the building away from the wetland. So after 2 years, we've been vindicated. They've admitted that wetland should be avoided, and they've designed this crazy looking store that actually skirts itself around the wetland, but it still causes damage because it's now moved into several other wetland areas because of that, and it's way too big. The parking lot is 68% larger than local regulations require. It really, they gave not one single inch in trying to make the project smaller. They could have avoided all of this. They could have avoided 2 years of aggravation by simply making the building a smaller footprint and with a parking lot that fits into town regulations, not my regulations, but town regulations. All of that could have been done, still made a lot of money off the project, and not put us through 2 years of wasted time and energy debating it. And now, with these appeals, we could be looking at months and months of another delay in the project.
Now, did they not know about these regulations?
Oh, sure they did. Remember, I'm dealing with 3 law firms here. Okay. Between the developer and the landowner, I'm fighting 3 different law firms.
Why would they want to make it harder for themselves?
Because they thought that they could prevail with anything they threw on the table. I believe that they believed that they had been given assurances by the mayor that this thing was a done deal, that it would get approved, it would go through. I mean, after all, the mayor had very carefully salted the board to have only people on it that she could control 100%. So she was able to tell them, I will give you your 3 votes. But that's not going to be a problem.